Welcome back to DNA Mobile Gaming. Today we're going to test out and review and set up what I think is the best Game Boy Color Flash Cart from AliExpress. So let's check it out. So I got my handy dandy Game Boy Color here that is modded, of course, with a backlit screen. And I'm going to pop in this Flash Cart and show you it booted up. I've already got it configured and ready to go, but I found that if you end up flashing or erasing the actual SD card inside, you end up losing all of your files that you need for the actual flash cart to work, which is the BIOS or the bin files. So right off the hop, when you purchase this, it actually comes preloaded with a whole bunch of games that I didn't want, so I only put on the games that I wanted to put on here. And you can see here, it makes a backup save, erases the existing game that had been loaded onto the internal motherboard or the chipset that's inside the flash cart. And I haven't had any battery save issues or anything like that, so this thing is actually pretty sweet. It saves the actual file to the SD card as well, so I haven't seen any issues with that. Oh, I actually made the screen really dim. There's a dimmer on the top here, so here we go. And there's the volume. I can continue where I left off. I haven't played for very long. I was just testing out everything just to see how well it worked. And yeah, there it is. There's the game playing. You can hear it in the background. Everything works smooth. Nothing has given me any other thought to change this to anything else. And it works in your Game Boy Advances as well. So if you only have this flash cart, and you want to play some Game Boy Color games on your Game Boy Advance or your Game Boy Color like I am right now, then I would suggest purchasing this. I guess some of the newer versions have a reset button, but today I'm going to show you a way to reset this and set it up, just in case maybe you erase the SD card like I did and couldn't find the correct file to put back on it. So the files will be in the link in the description below. But firstly, what I ended up doing, so I accidentally flashed the incorrect file. I found a bunch of forums online saying to use the EGDB, the Easy Flash firmware, which was basically the original firmware. This Game Color cartridge is made in China somewhere, and they use the same board, I think, as the Easy Flash. So it's been a great little cartridge, and this one doesn't have the reset button like the newer ones do. I'll put a link in the description for the newer versions, which has the reset. I think that just resets it so that it you can start the game over. I don't think it actually physically resets it. So what we have to do, we have to grab a Phillips screwdriver, a really small one here. And that's what we're doing today, is basically giving it a hard reset so it erases the NAND file. We'll put the screw there, and the cartridge just slides down, and then you gotta slowly peel it off. And then you can look inside and you can see the actual board on the inside of the cartridge. And you can see here, so there's a battery, just like any other cartridge. And then there's all the other chipsets here that stores the information. But this battery right here, if you pop this out and wait about 10 to 15 seconds before you put it back in, this is factory resetting that board. So let's put it back in, and then we can put this back together. We don't have to put the screw back in. So the reason that you want to do this, say you accidentally flashed the wrong firmware and you thought that your cartridge was dead, and then you just toss it aside because you thought it was dead, well, this is going to fix that. I almost gave up on it, and then I ended up contacting a bunch of sellers on AliExpress, and most of them were like, "Oh, can you tell me your order number?" But I ordered this last year, and I didn't have an account back then, so I didn't have an order number to give anybody. And my screws right there. So I finally got somebody that actually sent me the files, and I'll share the files that I've uploaded to my personal cloud storage that you guys can use for downloading. If it doesn't work anymore, just let me know and I'll try to update it. So let's plug it back in and let's see what happens. So setting has been set to default, so press any key. Where's the any key? I'll just press A or B, whatever. It doesn't matter what key. So now it's going to reset it. And it's not going to show anything because we took out the SD card. So let's pop that SD card back in there. And let's turn it back on. And there it goes. It's loading the information. And let's double check to see if our Pokemon Gold files are still available, because it should save the save file to the SD card, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't. So if you take out that battery, I'm pretty sure it will erase everything. And unfortunately, that is the unfortunate part. But let's double check. Let's see what it does. I have never done this with a game we're already playing. But if you know any regular cartridges, they end up dumping and erasing the save file when you take the battery out of them. So I'm assuming, no, it actually saves it. So yeah, so the save file itself, which is what I thought, because of the programming, it'll save right in this folder here. So here's the save file. So there they are right here. So these are all your save files. So you could technically upload a save file that maybe you have a modded save file, for example, or maybe you have a save file from your original game that you've dumped onto your computer with one of the backup cartridges, and you want to play it on this instead. So like you have all the copy file to SRAM, so you can save this and then basically copy it onto your computer and then play the file on your computer as well if you wanted to. So that's pretty sweet. And then I don't know what this cannon fodder. Oh yeah, this was just a game that I was looking at, and then there's Donkey Kong Country, and then you can play Game Boy games as well. I'm not going to get into all that, but I just basically wanted to show you how that works. So we're going to jump on the computer now, and I have my laptop right here. I'm going to move this screw out of the way. So I'm going to manipulate and show you on screen in a second once I start up my screen recorder what ended up happening, because you can only install the firmware that I am sharing in the description below, and I'll show you in a second what I mean. So now we're on the computer, and let's check it out. So give it 2 more seconds. So over to the computer, I ended up Google searching Easy Flash, or not Easy Flash, Flash Cart, Game Boy Color. So it was EverDrive, not Easy Flash. So EverDrive files. So I went to this site called Crix, as you can see here. I went to downloads, and I'm just trying to see which one it was. Game Boy and Original Series OS. And I downloaded the version 4 at first, and that didn't work. So then I downloaded version 2, and that still didn't work. So there's a different firmware that this company has flashed onto the flash cart. So I'm back on the camera here. I'm going to show you. So I put the SD card into my little adapter here. It looks like I have an adapter still attached to my computer. And back on the computer again. So you can see my folders just popped up there. I'm going to cut all these. And I'm going to place them in my desktop for now. And I have a folder just for games. So where is it? Right here. And we're going to game color files. So I'm going to paste all those in there. So that we can just copy and paste them afterwards. So what I did, I ended up formatting the SD card. And I'm going to do that. And like I'm going to show you what I did to manipulate this to the steps that I ended up trying out. I'm going to go to version 4 and I'm going to download this. I'm going to show it in the folder. And you can see that I've already have a few of them already downloaded. But if I put this on my root of my SD card, and I go to my desktop, and go to my games folder, where the heck did it go? Oh, there it is. And Game Boy Color, and I'm just going to grab a Game Boy Color game. Of course, I'm going to grab Pokemon Silver. And we'll go back into our root of our SD card. And I'm only showing you this just to manipulate the whole process of what I did at first. So I thought this was going to work, all fine and dandy. But there is something that they changed for their firmware that doesn't match. And there's nowhere on the internet that actually gives you the information for this. So I'm going to open this up on my Game Boy now. And you can see quickly there, it said that it failed. So I might be able to load and start this. And it's erasing. Let's see if it writes it. Yeah, it's going to write it. But it's not going to allow you to play another game. So if I put another game on here, it'll end up bugging out. And if this is what happened to you, so let's wait. So it'll load the game. It'll let you play it. So you can see here, new game, let you play it. But if I shut this off, and let's add another game to it. So we're back on the computer again. And I'm just going to split this into 2 screens so it's a little bit easier to see. Go to my desktop, games, Game Boy Color. And let's copy this over. And let's unplug it. And then we're back on Game Boy Color again. Now you'll be able to see it quick. It'll say failed. Yeah, failed. So if we try to load and start this, backup save RAM. And it seems like it froze. So that's what I mean. I'm trying to manipulate what I did, and this doesn't work. So what you want to do, so this is frozen, the game's not going to work, but it does work if you want to just, say you want to just flash it for eternity. If you press start, it actually starts the game that you first loaded. And what my thoughts were right away was to do the battery trick. So the battery trick works pretty well. So now I'm going to plug this back into the computer. I'm going to format the SD card. Okay, so it's formatted. And let's open up another file explorer and go in there. So if you directly copy the game color file, GB, and the save folder, so just copy this whole file right here over to the SD card and plug it in. This is where I had the idea to take out the battery, because I don't think this worked right off the hop again. And I thought, oh, maybe this thing is bricked and it's not working whatsoever. But it seems like it's working. So let's turn it off and let's add our game. But if this doesn't work for you, do the battery trick that I showed you. So we're going to add, back on the computer here, we'll add Zelda and Zelda Oracle of Ages. So we're going to have two games just added to the main root of the SD card, as you see on the computer. Now let's pop it back out again. I know it's a lot of back and forth. And back on the Game Boy again. Make sure it's in there. And this should work. So let's load and start. There it goes, it's erasing. So this is the correct firmware. It's writing. And I didn't have to do the battery trick. But if it doesn't write or work the first time, try the battery trick, which will format the actual motherboard of the flash cart. So let's get into it. Let's create an account and start the game. There's no extra features or anything like that that I've found yet. So like fast forwarding the game or anything like that. I know some flash carts you can, they have an emulator that you can set up to flash or fast forward games or do quick save states. So this one doesn't have that as of right now, at least. I don't know if there's going to be a lot of huge updates for this. Okay, so I got a shield. Awesome. So I got the shield. Let's get out of here. All right, so let's turn it off, turn it back on. And let's go into our save files. So there's no actual save file there yet. Oops, don't open that. But let's load and start another game. So it's erasing the existing game and writing the new one. It takes a few minutes sometimes, depending on the game size, of course. But this game cartridge is pretty sweet. It's under $50 Canadian. Like I said, the newer ones have a reset button, but I think that reset button might be just to avoid having to turn your game off and on, and it just navigates you back to the menu or whatever. But as you can see here, this is pretty easy to set up. And of course, all these games are just ripped off of cartridges and placed onto my computer. So yeah, there you go. So this is how you can fix and set up your game color game cartridge, and since there wasn't a lot out there for this, I thought I'd share the info that I ended up finding after doing a lot of research online, and this should help you out with setting it up if you accidentally flat or reset the SD card. So there you go. Once again, that's the game color game cartridge. I'm playing Zelda. Hope you guys enjoy. And here it is once again. This cartridge is awesome.